Nick Martinez has been nothing short of spectacular in his work this season. 2 starts, 2 wins, no earned runs. Nick's pace and poise have provided a very bright spot in the early going. For the first time this season, your Rangers face an opponent out of the AL West, but not out of the West. Stop 2 on the road trip is Chase Field as the Rangers face the Arizona Diamondbacks. The first of a 2-game series from Phoenix is coming up next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Ranger Baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Well, it's spring training deja vu all over again. Rangers back in the Phoenix area. It is Chase Field in downtown Phoenix this time as the Rangers get set to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you could join us. Rangers enjoying an off day yesterday, and today they get back to work. A brief 2-game set here in Phoenix, and they have their hottest pitcher going right now. And Tom, Nick Martinez has been nothing short of great.
He's been really good, Buzz. And, from the time Jeff Bannister took over as manager, he's been preaching to his pitchers the need to pitch in to be successful. Throw good quality pitches inside. Nick has not only bought into it, he's implemented it very well in the first 2 ball games. He's only given up 1 run. That was an unearned run. He's pitched 14 innings, 7 innings in both starts. Not a lot of strikeouts, but there have not been a lot of hard hit balls because he's been running that fastball in on the fists of the right-hand hitters and also jamming the left-hand hitters. The result is a lot of weakly hit outs.
And he's making the hitters make adjustments to him, which as a pitcher is ideal. That's what you want to have happen. Well, the Rangers got the offense going on Sunday in Seattle. They'll see if they can't keep it up here in the Valley of the Sun. Fritz Fielder and company getting set to take on the Diamondbacks. More of our pregame right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. By AT&T Uverse TV. Uverse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Now the clouds have rolled in a bit here to the Valley of the Sun. A very comfortable evening for this baseball game to take place here at Chase Field. We'll come back with the starting lineups and the first pitch right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Here since the Diamondbacks became a Major League ball club back in 1998. Chase Field opened. It was then Bank One Ballpark, and the retractable roof, the natural turf indoors. With the retractable roof, of course, they keep it open every chance they get to get sunlight on the field. It is going to be open tonight on a very comfortable Tuesday evening here in the Valley of the Sun. Here's Tom with the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers starting lineup.
For the Rangers in center field and leading off is Leonis Martin. Elvis Andrus bats second. Prince Fielder at first base bats third. Adrian Beltre bats fourth at third base. The right fielder is Shin-Soo Choo. Robinson Chirinos catching will hit sixth. Carlos Peguero gets the start and bats seventh in left field. Rougned Odor will hit eighth. And the pitcher in the National League Park, Nick Martinez, will bat ninth.
And that lineup will face the 27-year-old right-hander Chase Anderson from Wichita Falls, Texas, by way of Oklahoma University. Chase doesn't have eye-popping stuff as far as lighting up radar guns, but what he does have is very good control and probably the best changeup in the Arizona Diamondbacks system. At least that's what Baseball America says about his changeup. They rated it the best changeup in both leagues that he pitched at the last 2 years in the minor leagues. And then, of course, making his major league debut, he has taken it there. So he'll throw it about 20 to 25% of the time and virtually in any count. And that is what has made Chase Anderson very effective. At 21 starts last year for the Diamondbacks. He ended up going 9-7, ERA of 4.01 this year. No record as of yet. This is his third start at 4.09 ERA. But he can be effective, and he is one of the young pitchers that the Diamondbacks are pinning their hopes on as they try to make a resurgence from the worst record in baseball last year. Take a look at the defense behind Chase Anderson tonight. Peralta, Pollock, and Trumbo left, center, and right. Paul Goldschmidt at first. Owings and Ahmed up the middle. Yasmani Tomas, the Cuban free agent, at third base. And Tuffy Goswich is catching for Chase Anderson. Well, ready to get underway as Leonis Martin steps in. Rangers trying to bounce back from a tough loss on Sunday. That in Seattle when they scored 10 runs, tied the season high, and had a season high 13 hits, but couldn't quite get the job done. Seattle came back, won that ball game in the ninth inning, 11-10. Okay. Leonis Martin.
There's that changeup you're talking about, Buzz.
Yeah, you got to look at it very quickly.
That's an interesting matchup tonight. Two young right-handers that really know how to pitch that don't light up a radar gun.
Back-to-back changeups. That one floats outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, we talked about last week, Tom. I know you and I were talking about right-handers that don't throw all that hard. Tough for them to get an opportunity to pitch at the big league level. That's pop foul, and it's out of play. And apparently, Chase Anderson, one of those guys that did get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think I got to just comment on that. There's a guy on the phone. Has a phone in the left hand, reached up with the other hand and made the catch. Nice play. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. When you look at Chase Anderson, obviously we don't know a lot about him, but he doesn't light up a radar gun. He was a successful college pitcher, and he was picked in the 9th round.
Right.
Reason he was picked in the 9th round is because he didn't light up the radar gun. And so teams are a little bit reluctant to step up early in the draft for that kind of guy. Interesting, though, there's probably a lot of guys picked ahead of him with 95-mile-an-hour fastballs who are still trying to get out of the minor leagues, and here he is in the big leagues.
He misses with that changeup. That evens the count now at 2-2. Yeah, we're guys that threw 98 and all of a sudden got to know Tommy John a little bit, and they're back home.
Yeah, right.
Martin, as you saw, a .218 average. He had a very good series in Seattle. And that pitch just off the outer edge. It's a full count. So Leonis Martin trying to begin things here to get a board in front of Elvis Andrus, the Rangers shortstop. Payoff pitch on the way. And we'll try it again. Martin with 6 hits in the 3 games in Seattle. He and Prince Fielder the only Rangers to have that many hits in a single season or series so far this season. Fox tracker showing you this will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat coming from Anderson. Oh, over the glove of Goldschmidt down the right field line. That is going to be extra bases. Trumbo gets it back in. And Leonis Martin continuing to swing a hot bat. A leadoff double.
Yeah, it's been on this road trip, too. He was bounced down to the bottom of the order after struggling in the leadoff spot, just temporary. Jim Bannister said he'd get him back in the leadoff spot. He did that in the first game in Seattle. He had a nice leadoff series in 3 games in Seattle. And this is a really good at-bat for him right here. He's never seen Anderson before. He laid off a couple of close changeups and then got a fastball out over the plate and drilled it down the right field line. So in addition to leading off the game with a double, he also saw a bunch of pitches.
Well, Leonis at second to start things, and here comes Elvis Andrus. Elvis, 164 average. He has a home run, 5 driven in. Pick off at second, and fortunately the throw was high. I think Leonis would have been back in time, but just to make sure, Ahmed, the shortstop, cutting in behind him. What was that on-base percentage? Just 161. Check swing. He went around. Nothing in 1.
Another look at the pitch out over the plate, and a nice job just over Goldschmidt's head. And once the right fielder has to go that far to catch it, it's just a matter of tossing the ball in and watching him go into second base.
Anderson, a couple of looks at Leonis Martin, and Elvis fights it off foul. And the count moves to 0-2. The Rangers come into play tonight 5-8. They're still only a game or 2 games back of the top spot in the AL West. Houston on top with a .500 record. Rangers tied for 3rd in the Western Division. 0-2. Yeah, breaking ball. It's a rare breaking ball that Chase Anderson will throw. That's probably his third best pitch, but he does that enough to keep hitters off balance and give Tuffy Ghostwich, his catcher, a little practice on balls in the dirt.
That's one that occasionally you get a right-hand hitter to swing at, especially a pitcher that you've never seen before.
Now the 1-2 coming. That changeup, and Elvis just able to check swing it foul. Still 1-2. Before we get too far along, folks back in the Metroplex, I know, appreciate you staying up with us. Wanted to say hello to Michael Bloom, big Ranger fan, recuperating from a little bit of surgery. Michael, I hope you're doing well and hope everything goes very smoothly for you in your recuperation. Fastball in. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Elvis in the last 10 days has found it to be a bit of a rocky road. Just can't quite seem to get things going. Just 2 for his last 17. And he chops one to short. Ahmed no play at third, so he throws to first. And good read by Leonis Martin on that high chopper.
Yep.
Able to get a good jump and make it to third.
Hard hit ball hit to the same spot on the field, you probably don't get to third. But if you get your good secondary lead, as soon as you see that ball bounced high in the air and you have his speed, then you know you can make it.
Well, that goes down as an 0 as far as runners in scoring position, but it was effective in that he did his job, talking about Elvis Andrus, getting the runner to third base and setting the table for Prince Fielder. Fielder tied for the top spot with 6 RBI on the ball club. Trying to make it 7 here. And he's going to do it as he plugs the gap in left center. That is way up there. 1 hop over the wall. A ground rule double. And in to score Leonis Martin. Prince Fielder, the RBI double. The Rangers lead it 1-0.
Yeah, that's one of the better balls Prince has hit this year. That's a deep part of the ballpark, 413 feet. And it took 1 hop and went over the wall. So he hit that ball over 400 feet to left center field. And one of the things we've seen from Prince over the last week or so is teams aren't shifting as much against him because of his ability to drive the pitch away the opposite way. It's a tailing fastball down and away, gets it airborne. You see no shift in the infield. They're playing him straight away.
Prince now 7 for 12 with runners in scoring position. That is by far the best on the team. Up a little over 600. He was 5th in the American League, going 6 for 11 coming in. Just for a basis of comparison, the rest of the Rangers, how about 16 for 90, 178. Well, here's Adrian Beltre, a 151 mark, a home run, and an RBI. 1-0 pitch to him. Beltre, one of the better hitters in interleague play. That graphic right there since 2011, since Adrian joined the Rangers, a .321 average. That changeup on 2-0, and it's now 2-1. Now Adrian showed some signs of coming out of his early season malaise up in Seattle. Hit a couple balls hard, got a chopping base hit, which sometimes turn things around for you. 2 hoppers out to second base. Owings on to first. To third goes Prince Fielder. He's there now with 2 outs for Shin-Soo Choo. So 2 doubles and 2 groundouts. Rangers leading 1-0. Shin-Soo coming to the plate with a 152 mark. A home run, 5 driven in. Choo just 1 for 11 in the Seattle series. He has scuffled since coming out of the lineup almost 2 weeks ago now with those back spasms. Anderson back to the wind and misses with the breaking ball. Last 7 games for Chu. Just 2 for 21. 0.95 mark. He's seen his average drop almost 100 points. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, that is a good changeup.
It is a very good changeup. Key so far is laying off it, because most of them have been out of the strike zone. Easier said than done.
1-1. Hard hit. Diving stop by Owens. He gets up and throws out Chu. What a play by the Diamondbacks second baseman. Rangers, though, put a run on the board on 2 hits and strand 1. After a half inning, Rangers 1, Diamondbacks coming up.
Batting third, the first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt. Mark Trumbo in right field will bat fourth. David Peralta is in left field. Yasmani Tomas plays third base and bats sixth. Tuffy Goswitch, the catcher, is batting seventh. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, hits eighth. And the pitcher is Chase Anderson. He'll bat ninth.
And Nick Martinez, the hottest pitcher going for the Rangers. Really wanted to be an infielder until his dad finally talked him into taking pitching lessons while he was a senior in high school and then on into college. And it worked out pretty well, I would think. Off to the best start, one of the best starts in Ranger history, with 14 consecutive scoreless innings to start a season. It is just 5 short of the Ranger record held by John Matlack. Very aggressive with the fastball, and that has been the key, and something that Nick Martinez said he worked a lot this winter on. The mental side of it, practicing being aggressive in and out of the strike zone with that fastball. A.J. Pollock leading things off. This Diamondbacks offense pretty much in high gear. Pollock right at the top of things. A .356 average, getting on base at a .431 clip. Good pitch from Martinez. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Pollock with a home run, 6 driven in. Nick staying right around the top of that mound. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Diamondbacks last year, as we mentioned, the worst record in baseball. They lost 98 ball games. And it just got to be to the point, according to Paul Goldschmidt, where they just didn't expect to win when they took the field. He said that's got to change, and it has here in the early going. Chip Hale, the new manager. Line drive to right. Chu coming on and fighting the lights, apparently. Kind of snagged it as he was going to the ground. Well, Pollock out, one away. Chris Owings coming out. Let's take a look at the rest of the Ranger defense. It's delivered to you by DeMontron RV. saw Shinsu out there in right field having a little struggle on that last line drive. Leonis Martin in center. Carlos Peguero is in left. Fielder at first. Odor and Andrews up the middle. Beltre at third. And Robinson Chirinos back behind the plate, handling Nick Martinez. Here's Chris Owings.
Here's the ball to Chu. It's kind of a low line drive, and you can see him staying with that ball, having a little bit of a problem seeing it, and evidently went through the lights. Evidently it came out of the lights, and he was able to make the play.
If it doesn't come out, there's not much you can do, is there?
No, you just get your head out of the way to make sure it doesn't hit you in the head. Stick your glove out and hope you get lucky.
Now Chris Owings, a 195 average. Taking high, and 1 ball, 2 strikes now to count. .233 on base percentage for Owings. And you know, the National League, you'll find a lot of guys hitting that number 2 slot that average might not look great, but they do a lot of things well with the bat. He got fisted there. Nick Martinez again pounding a hitter inside on the fist.
That's pretty much what your pregame show was all about, Buzz. The ability to get the fastball into the right-hand hitters, and you can't do it much better than that. He's had a couple of good swings at fastballs that were out over the plate, maybe 4-seam fastballs, but that one just ate him up.
That 2-tone bat, and I think he got that ball down where it's lighter.
Yeah, he got the lower part of the 2-tone.
Yeah, that typically isn't where you want to strike the baseball with that bat.
Yeah, the one he swung and missed, and swung and fouled straight back, was a fastball. Looked like a 4-seam fastball right down the middle of the plate. He had a good swing at it, and when he goes back to the bench, he's going to be saying, boy, I wish I hit that one. Because he showed me something different on that last pitch.
Paul Goldschmidt taking the next pitch. It's a strike on the outer edge.
He started him out with a breaking ball. Goldschmidt way out in front of it, and pinpointed that fastball away. See if he tries to come in with his fastball. 0-2. Nope, going to go away probably with a breaking ball.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Sinker.
Goldschmidt, as you saw, the National League leader with 15 RBI, 5 home runs, a .313 average. Tried that breaking ball and just missed. And the count is now even at 2-2.
Well, Goldschmidt, just a great offensive player. He's a .300 hitter who walks. In his big year, 2013, he hit .302 and walked 100 times.
Up the middle, that is into center field. Boy, Goldschmidt waiting on that off-speed pitch very nicely, and he has a 2-out single. Now our T-Mobile game changer, speaking of Paul Goldschmidt, since 2013, he's first in slugging and extra base hits. He is second in home runs and RBI, and third in on-base percentage. That equates to a pretty good middle of the order hitter. And Paul Goldschmidt is every bit of that. He is at first, 2 outs. Mark Trumbo, former Los Angeles Angel, out of play to the right.
The pregame show, we were talking about the injuries that Arizona had last year. A.J. Pollock, their leadoff hitter, hit .300 but only had 265 at bats. He had a fractured hand. Goldschmidt had 400 at bats but missed the last third of the year. He had 39 doubles at the time of his injury, only 400 at bats. He fractured his hand. And Trumbo had a stress fracture in his foot. He missed over 2 months of the season. So you take those 3 guys out of your lineup, you're going to have a tough time.
Tough play. Elvis going the short way, and they just get the sliding Paul Goldschmidt. Side retired, no runs a hit, and 1 man left. After 1, Rangers 1, Diamondbacks nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. 3-game set, and fans will be treated to a post-game fireworks show set to the music from Back to the Future movies. It's presented by Big Green Egg. Join us as we celebrate 30th anniversary of Back to the Future. Get $14 upper reserve tickets using the online coupon code fireworks at texasrangers.com/specials. Robinson Chirinos leading off, and Chase Anderson deals high for ball 1. Chirinos, Peguero, and Odor, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters. First 3 due up here in the Rangers' second. Texas on top, 1-0. Off the end of the bat to third, and Tomas has it. High throw, but Goldschmidt, a pretty big target over there, makes the grab.
Yeah, Tomas could be, if not the biggest third baseman in baseball. He's one of them.
Pretty good size.
He's listed at about 260 pounds. They're going to put a little shift on here, it looks like, against Peguero. He'll move over to the right side of the infield. Boy, a good number of the Cuban players signing in the last 4 or 5 years have been big guys. Puig, Cespedes, Abreu. Big, strong guys.
And Tomas looks like he fits right in the middle
he
of that.
Looks like the Kung Fu Panda. Pablo Sandoval is a big guy, probably even bigger than that. But he handles himself very well at third base for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, so no reason why Tomas can't do it as well. We'll see. Get to see him in 4 games this year.
Speaking of big guys, how about the guy at the plate for the Rangers, Carlos Peguero?
He's a big guy.
Yes, he is. 6'5", about 240, and really runs well. And Carlos just trying to figure out how to be able to use that speed once he gets the bat in his hand. Try to cut down his stroke, be a little more selective, be a little bit quicker to the ball in spring training. Kind of like that, but he grounds one right at the shortstop. And Ahmed, long throw, 2 gone. Put 2 ground balls in the inning, 2 outs. Matter of fact, the last 4 outs have been on ground balls. And Rougned Odor will come up. Rougned, just a 140 average so far, and mentioned getting on base. He's still got a 288 on base percentage, but that 140 is starting to mount a little bit. He's gone 0 for his last 12.
You know, the longer you go hitting 140, the harder it is to get it up over 200.
Yeah.
Hit 140 the first 15 or 20 at bats. All it takes is a 3 for 4. You get right back up there. But the more at bats you get, the harder it is.
2 balls, no strikes. Say one thing though, Rougned's found a way to get things done. He's gotten on base a fairly good clip. 5 hit by pitches. That's the most in the major leagues. Fouled off. And he also had a couple of RBI the other day without the benefit of a hit. Couple of fielder's choice groundouts in Seattle. But all in all, I think that not getting the base hits is the thing that Rougned will talk about the most. 2-2 now. Rangers 14th in the American League with a .211 batting average. They are 9th in runs scored, and that 10 spot on Sunday in Seattle helped that. They have scored 51 runs. Pulled on the ground weakly out to Owings. And that'll do it. 3 ground balls, 3 outs. Rangers in order are retired. 1.5 in the books from Arizona. The Rangers leading 1-0. is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. Beautiful shot of partly cloudy skies, sun setting here in the Valley of the Sun. And David Peralta starting things off here in the second for the Diamondbacks. Peralta, 267 average with a couple of home runs and 6 RBI. Nick Martinez working quickly, comes back with a fastball. Easy play for Elvis. One gone. Very efficient, as we have come to expect out of Nick Martinez. 18 pitches for the first 4 outs.
Yeah, it's actually fun watching two pitchers like Anderson and Martinez pitch. Two young pitchers that don't just depend on overpowering the hitter, throw it as hard as they can and see what happens. Two guys that have good stuff and really know how to pitch.
Well, here's Yasmani Tomas, recalled last Friday by the Diamondbacks for his first foray into the major leagues. Welcome to Nick Martinez world. Got that right in on the fist, and Tomas, I won't even say he was fighting that off. 375 average for Tomas in the World Classic. To the right side, that is through for a base hit. He fought 2 of them off, and one of them found a hole.
Yeah, that's a base hit, but that still hurt his hands a little bit.
Good thing it's not real cold. He might not have had all 10 of his fingers left attached.
They gave him a lot of money, boy. Didn't quite get it in as far as the other one. You can see the first pitch was way inside. That one was a good pitch, and it did jam him. But he just kind of slid it between first and second for a base hit.
That's the second Diamondbacks hit off of Nick Martinez. 1 on, 1 out. Tuffy Goswitch takes low and in for ball 1. Goswitch, a 205 hitter. No home runs, a couple driven in. And he has reached base safely in all 10 of the ball games that he has played in this year. Good breaking ball from Martinez. Goswitch out of Arizona State University. He's the third Arizona State player to play with the Diamondbacks. Willie Bloomquist, who we saw over the weekend in Seattle, and Jake Elmore, also ASU alums that have played here in Phoenix. Ow. Another one through that hole. Tomas around second, will head to third. A couple of hits through the hole on the right side. Maybe not smartly struck, but certainly effective. Runners at the corners with 1 out. Nick Ahmed coming up.
Yeah, that one was hit even softer than the one Tomas hit. That ball just hit him right in the hands. Watch the glove, watch the ball tailing in. And you can see how close it hit to the handle. Fortunately, he just snuck it right by Prince Fielder. Barely got it by him.
So 2 on. Here's Ahmed now hitting 135. For Ahmed, his 12th start of the year at shortstop. Takes that breaking ball that dips in for strike 1. Ahmed, a 25-year-old, on the just completed road trip, the 7-game swing that the Diamondbacks had. He went just 2 for 21. And he's got an opportunity here to at least tie the ball game. He's got runners at first and third and 1 out. Slowly hit to third. Beltre on the run has 1 play and 1 play only. The out is at first. In to score, Yasmani Tomas. And the Diamondbacks have tied this ball game. It's 1-1.
That's one of the weakest runs that took 3 hitters to get that you'll ever see right there. You can add those 3 at-bats together and not come close to seeing a hard hit ball.
It'll cost you three bats in those.
That's unbelievable. 2 dribblers off the handle. And watch this one. This one I think would have stopped before it got to third base. That one hit about 6 inches above the fist. And that counts as a run.
Now here's the pitcher, Chase Anderson. He waves at a ball. Yeah, Adrian didn't even have a chance to think about throwing home. You saw him look that way, but
yeah, probably would have had a tough time because by the time he threw it, the runner might have been right in his way when he tried to get it to the catcher.
And as a result, Nick Martinez has given up his first earned run of the season. That snaps his streak at 15 and a third innings.
You can't do much about that, Ron.
No.
You made your pitch. You did what you wanted. You got him to hit the ball on the part of the bat that you wanted him to hit it on. They just found a couple holes.
Still 0-2 to Anderson. Yeah, you're right. You make good pitches, and sometimes not so good things happen when you make good pitches. See, Anderson, not exactly a great hitter. 0.27 his career average.
I will take my chances though as a pitcher if I can make the bat hit the ball in the ball hit the bat in the same spot as he did this inning.
Well, one thing you know, you're probably not going to give up many home runs.
No, Babe Ruth couldn't hit the ball there and hit a home run.
Unless you get some of the King Kong with a hurricane blowing out. 1-2 to Anderson. Hard hit, Beltre gobbles that up. He's going to get a Chase Koswich back to second and make the tag, and that'll do it. But the Diamondbacks tied up. They get a run on 2 hits and lead 1 after 2. The Rangers won and the D-backs won on Fox Sports Southwest. Take on the division rival Seattle Mariners. Come on out to Globe Life Park for one of the last games in April and enjoy ballpark hot dogs for just $1 each. Visit TexasRangers.com for tickets, or as always, you can call 972-RANGERS. Ranger fans, all shapes and sizes, having a good time. They're watching a pretty well pitched, well played game as we head to the 3rd inning at Chase Field. Nick Martinez will start things off for the Rangers. Nick, hitting as a left-handed batter, takes strike 1. Nick, of course, spent most of his time when he was at Fordham as a second baseman. He's a 295 hitter. Said he hit toward the top of the order more often than not. 4 home runs in his career up there. But the Rangers drafted him as a pitcher. He said he tried to talk the scouts out of doing that. He wanted to be drafted as an infielder, and he said, no, we're going to take you as a pitcher. I think it was the right choice.
I do too. He'd be working somewhere else as a hitter.
1-2 pitch. Somebody asked me, what would you be doing if you'd stayed a hitter and hadn't made it? He said, well, I would have been probably working on Wall Street with the rest of my guys from Fordham.
Well, he might be making more money than he is now then.
Exactly. Skied to center field. Pretty well hit, but Pollock back there. One gone. Now, before we go back to the top of the Ranger order, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Here's Dana Larson.
Center fielder, Leon Martin.
All right, Dana, thank you. Tigers on top of that American League Central. One game over Kansas City. Kansas City now losing as they host Minnesota. A strike to Leonis Martin. Martin began the game, I should say, in the first inning by doubling into the right field corner. Came around to score on the double off the bat of Prince Fielder. This time, Leonis Martin gone. That high fastball couldn't catch up with it. First strikeout of the night for Chase Anderson.
Yeah, pretty good velocity right there by Anderson. That was a 93-mile-an-hour fastball with some great movement on it. That ball really had some left to right movement. Not much downward movement, but sideward movement quite a bit.
Well, Anderson now has retired the last 7 Rangers in a row since Prince Fielder's RBI double. Here's Elvis, who had a ground ball to short his first time. It was a productive out in that it got Leonis Martin from second to third in front of Prince's 2-bagger. 0-1 pitch. Under the glove of Yasmani Tomas into right field. Elvis taking a turn. He's going for second. The throw not in time. Tomas not really a third baseman by trade as far as the Diamondbacks are concerned, and he got caught right in the middle on that one.
That might be the biggest challenge that the Diamondbacks have with him, is trying to find a place to play him. That really didn't look like a third baseman going after a ball right there. Tried to backhand a ball that was hit right at him. Yikes.
No, a 2-base error by Tomas. I think he may want to accelerate his work in the outfield during batting practice a little bit more. Here's Prince Fielder. First ball swinging, a 2-hopper to second. That'll do it. So the error does not do anything to damage the cause of the Diamondbacks. 1 left for the Rangers, 2.5 in the books. 1-1 the score. Rangers and Diamondbacks. Batting order: Pollock, Owings, and Goldschmidt here in the third. Pollock lined sharply to right field his first time up. Hits that ball hard, and Elvis stays with a tough hop. One gone. Well, Pollock 0 for 2. Now Chris Owings.
That was a slider that Nick got up and pretty much out over the plate. Pollock had a good opportunity to hit it hard. He did. Fortunately, hit it right at shortstop. That ball goes in for a base hit. You earn it. You hit it hard. Boy, those other 2 hits in the last inning. Different story there.
That ball that Pollock hit would have been equal in distance had they all rolled out to the other 3 put together.
Yeah, it might have gone farther.
Owings had a ground ball to second in the first inning.
2009 was a very good draft for Arizona. They drafted Pollock, was the 17th pick in the draft. Owings was the 41st pick in the draft. And Paul Goldschmidt was picked in the 8th round. And in the 9th round, Chase Anderson was picked. So 4 guys playing tonight were all picked early in the draft.
Well, Owings getting down that line pretty quickly and just nipped it first by a step. Throw from Rubin Odor, 2 outs. Yeah, probably pretty tough to find many teams that have 4 guys on the field at the same time from the same draft.
Yeah, it's also, I'd love to hear the scouting story of Paul Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt was an 8th round pick. I'm sure there's a good reason for it. Every team in baseball passed on him 7 times, some 8 times. And he's one of the best players in the National League right now. So something has changed between when he was drafted and now, obviously.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and you've talked about it, Tom, that scouting is not an exact science by any means, and I guess sometimes guys kind of sneak through the cracks. But a guy that's this successful, this kind of power, this kind of ability, and hard to imagine that he had any glaring weaknesses that you would have seen.
You know, sometimes a kid, and I think Chris Davis was like this. Maybe he's not in shape. Maybe he's big. Maybe he doesn't move around at first defensively very well, and you get a little bit of a label, and then all of a sudden you get in pro ball. This guy's chiseled now, and for a first baseman, he runs good. It's not like he's stuck at first base. He can play other positions. He's a very good first baseman, but he also can run. So he's athletic, and he's a great hitter. He walks, hits doubles, home runs, knocks in big runs. So he's come a long way from an 8th round draft choice.
Ahead in the count here, 3 balls and a strike. 2 outs, base is empty. Now 3-2. Goldschmidt, a base hit his first time up. Singled solidly into center field. Batting average up to 327 as he faces Nick Martinez. Nick into the wind for the payoff pitch. Lost him. First walk of the game by either pitcher. Goldschmidt aboard, and Mark Trumbo will come up. Trumbo on a pretty good streak right now. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 8 ball games. And for Ranger fans who remember Mark Trumbo as a member of the Angels, the first part of the year, every year that he was with the Angels, he would do most of his offensive damage, the home runs, the high batting average, the RBI. So it's no surprise to see him get off to a very good start. I think that broken foot, Tom, that you mentioned last year, slowed him down a bit and has spread out his season a little bit.
Yep. I mentioned this in the pregame show too. Pollock played half a season because of a fractured hand. Goldschmidt played 2/3 of the season because of a fractured hand. And Trumbo, not sure what he missed, over 2 months, I know, with that stress fracture. So that's probably their 3 most productive offensive players.
Nick with the 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2.
Goldschmidt had 70 runs batted in and 39 doubles and only 400 at bats. Trumbo had a couple of big years for the Angels. 30+ home runs, 100 runs driven in.
Martinez, a check of Goldschmidt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Trumbo, 2012 was an all-star selection. Remember that year, all-star game in Kansas City, and he was in that home run contest. They were launching balls up close to I-70 out there in left field. Got him swinging. Good breaking ball. And the 2-out walk to Goldschmidt, no problem. Stranded runner after 3. It's 1-1. And folks, Fox Sports NASCAR commentator Steve Burns passed away earlier today after his battle with cancer. Burns joined Fox Sports in 2001 and served as a pit reporter for Sprint Cup Series coverage through the 2014 season. He was also play-by-play announcer for Fox Sports 1's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series and hosted several auto racing shows for the company's channels. Burns is survived by his wife of 22 years, Karen, and their 12-year-old son, Bryson, of Fort Mill, South Carolina. Adrian Beltre starting off the Ranger 4th inning. Shoots one over the bag fair and down the first baseline. Beltre will hang on as Trumbo gets to the ball quickly. And Adrian, yeah, he got jammed too. He saw all those Diamondbacks doing. He said, I'll try it myself. And it paid off.
That hit would have fit right into the 2nd inning for Arizona. Maybe the Rangers will get a run the same way. Anderson runs the fastball in. Was successful in jamming Adrian. Just couldn't catch a break. You can see how far over Goldschmidt is shading towards second base. And therefore a ground ball right to first base goes down the right field line. Adrian's getting that arm winding around, see if he can't get a little momentum to get to second.
Shin-Soo Choo takes a strike. Rangers now with 3 hits tonight. 2 doubles and a single. Shin-Soo, ground ball to second. Although he hit the ball sharply, the second baseman Owings made a great play on him. That was back in the first. 1-1. There's Chris Owings out there at second base. And the Diamondbacks, folks, the error by Tomas III notwithstanding, I tell you the defense is improved here in the infield. That's one of the reasons that pitching has been able to come around, and starters especially in the last time through the rotation have really gotten on a pretty good roll. They've had an ERA of just over 2 as they have gotten things squared around. Had a tough road trip. They went to San Diego for 3, and the Giants for 4, and ended up winning 3 out of 4 from San Francisco. Won 4 out of 7 on the road trip. So successful for a young Diamondbacks team. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Go switch, flashing the signs out, and Anderson ready to work. Inside, almost hit Jew. I'm going to have to get on the Rangers equipment man, Richard Hoggy Price, about him putting bullseyes on some of the hitters' jerseys.
Yeah, and he should have given him a bigger jersey. Might have caught his jersey. That's too form-fitting.
Rangers have been hit 16 times as a team. There goes Beltre. The throw to second, and not hanging on. Ahmed has the ball go off his glove into center field. Chu strikes out. Beltre with a stolen base. Adrian's first stolen base this year. You don't see Adrian swiping many bags, but he had a real good jump on that one.
Yeah, if he'd seen that ball go into center field, he probably could have gotten to third base. Just never saw it until too late.
So Beltre now in scoring position with 1 out. Chu, the second strikeout victim for Chase Anderson. Here's Robinson Chirinos.
Now Adrian can tell Elvis, yeah, you may have tied me for home runs, but I just tied you for stolen bases.
That's right.
So that should cut down a little bit of the trash talk.
I doubt it.
At least from Elvis.
Yeah. I'm not sure there's any comeback that thwarts all that trash talk. They enjoy it too much.
Yeah.
Chirinos a ground ball to third, his first time. Average at an even 200. Trying to pick up Beltre out there at second base. 2-0. For Robinson, this is his 9th start behind the plate. He's 3-5, his catcher win-loss in his first 8 starts. And that changeup floats in. It's 2-1. I think if you're a hitter, what you've seen from Chase Anderson now, that going into the second time around, you probably want to figure he's going to pitch you backwards. A traditional fastball count, you're probably going to see the changeup. And a traditional off-speed count, you're probably going to see the fastball. Fastball counts being 2-0, 3-1. Next offering to Robinson. Then he gets you with a 2-0 changeup, floats over, and then he throws a fastball by you.
Yeah, and he's got a decent little fastball working right now. 93, popped one last inning at 94, so got a pretty good combination of fastball changeup going for him tonight.
Beltre the lead from second. The 2-2 pitch coming. Trumbo into the alley, had to stop for a second. He thought that Pollock was going to cut over and make the catch. Looked over at Pollock, and Pollock said, "You take it, I can't get there." And Trumbo, fortunately for him, was able to make the grab. Well, that's out number 2.
Yeah, that
little miscommunication.
Like turn into a disaster for the outfielders right here. Kind of stops, looks at center field, but keeps on going and makes the play. Luckily, it hung up there for him. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if his heart started pounding a little bit in the middle of that, though.
Oh, shoot, I got to catch that? No, 2 outs. Here's Carlos Peguero. Rangers now need a base hit if they are to untie this ball game. Peguero and a ground ball to short. This time with Beltre at second, the Diamondbacks electing not to go into an overshift. Now they are shifted slightly around to the right.
Now, one thing I got to think before this series is over, Elvis and Martin are going to have to bunt toward third base. Now, Martin must have tried to bunt in Seattle 10 times with Kyle Seager playing third base. Now, doesn't mean that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because he does it well and he runs. But with Tomas playing third base, he's got to bunt, doesn't he?
Yeah, if this is going to be the alignment tomorrow, also for the Diamondbacks. They strike to Figueroa. This is Tomas' first start at third base for the Diamondbacks, and I'm not sure that the play that he had in the third inning is going to make that a possibility very often again.
After that play in the third inning, if I'm Martin, I'm saying unless there's men on base or it's a bad situation for it, I got to try to bunt.
Don't think that would be a. You think that would be a no contest as far as
if he lays down a good bunt, I like Martin's chances. Now it doesn't mean the kid can't make the play. You know, he's in the big leagues, but he doesn't have the same chance that Kyle Seager has. Let's put it that way.
Figueroa gone on strikes. Rangers strand a man in scoring position. One man left after 3.5. We are deadlocked at 1. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by the Mazda 6. J.D. Power has awarded the Mazda 6 highest ranked vehicle appeal among mid-sized cars. A lot of Ranger fans have found Chase Field tonight a very appealing place to be. 1-1 ball game. Nick Martinez ready to go to work here in the bottom of the 4th inning. David Peralta leading off, takes strike 1. Peralta, a sharply hit ground ball to short his first time.
Yeah, Peralta's an interesting story. He was a pitcher early in his career, 2005 to 2007. Then he was hurt a couple of years. He didn't play in 2010. Played some independent league ball, came back as a hitter, was signed in 2013 to a minor league contract. A couple years later, here he is in the big leagues.
Center field. One gone. Yeah, you know, we talk a lot about position players that convert to pitchers, but very rarely a guy that's signed as a pitcher that converts the other way.
Yeah, you don't see it that often. A lot of credit to him. He's not a 21-year-old. He's 27 years old. But once he signed a minor league contract with the D-backs as a hitter, didn't take him long to get to the big leagues.
I guess the one prominent guy that made that transition was Babe Ruth.
He could have been a Hall of Famer as a pitcher.
That's exactly right. I think he still holds the World Series record for shutout innings.
Yeah, that's why when you start comparing people to Babe Ruth, no one compares to Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
You can pick some hitters that, you know, if you like them, fine. But then when you combine what he did as a pitcher, it's a no-brainer. By far the greatest baseball player in history. He has to be.
Pretty tough to argue with that.
And who else could eat 10 hot dogs before a game and go out and hit 3 home runs? He's a legend.
0-2 to Yasmani Tomas.
Oh, I wish he hit that ball fair. That would have blooped and stopped in front of the pitcher. The one he fouled off to the right was in on the fist too.
Nick Martinez.
You got to keep pounding it.
Nick's throwing up a tent in there. He's making a campsite.
Number one, he can't hit it. Number two, it's about 6 inches inside, and he's still swinging at it.
Yeah, exactly. He's still swinging at it.
Don't throw number 2 right there, though. Got a feeling he can hit that one.
The 0-2. Tried the breaking ball, and
boy, he swung at 2 pitches way inside, and then took that pitch like he knew it was coming. He didn't even think about swinging it. That was a pretty close slider, too.
Well, maybe he's found out he can't hit that pitch at all, so he just takes it.
That one had to be a foot inside. That might have hit him if he didn't swing at it.
Yeah, maybe that was a self-defense swing.
There's guys would charge the mound for that pitch. He swung at it. Give him credit for being able to make contact.
Yeah. Chops it up the middle. Elvis got it. Elvis just kind of cruising on that one, and that's out number 2. Well, folks, the first post-game concert of the season takes place on Saturday, May 2nd. That's following the game between the Rangers and the A's. Come on out to Globe Life Park in Arlington and see Tracy Lawrence, presented by Budweiser. Tickets and passes to watch the show from the field are available at texasrangers.com/concerts. A 2 gone. Nobody on for Tuffy Goswitch. Goswitch rolled the single into right field. That was part of the back-to-back base hits that set up the only run that the Diamondbacks have scored tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Goswitch now with that single up to 225 with the average. Adrian vacuums up that ball. That'll do it. Fly ball, a couple of ground outs, a 1-2-3 inning for Nick Martinez. We'll go to the 5th here in Phoenix. Rangers 1, Diamondbacks 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. The Cubs bring up another star prospect. Full highlights from across the diamond. Plus, LeBron and the Cavs try to jump up 2-0, while Ovechkin and the Caps try to avoid a 3-1 hole. Plenty from the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Stay here for a simulcast of Fox Sports Live right after Rangers Live postgame. Rougned Odor getting ready to start off the Ranger fifth inning. All even at 1 apiece. Hits are even at 3 apiece. Rougned a ground ball to his counterpart, Chris Owings, back in the second inning. Chase Anderson, 62 pitches through 4 frames. He has been very efficient, and so has his mound counterpart, Nick Martinez. First pitch under the armpits of Rougned. Rougned at 136 now. His last base hit was last Wednesday at home against the Angels. A ball and a strike. Two and one. You'd love for your number 8 hitter to get aboard. You have the pitcher in the National League hitting, and give Rangers an opportunity to use the sacrifice. Although with Nick Martinez, you might have an opportunity to hit and run if you wanted to, or a lot of offensive possibilities. First things first, though, Rougned needs to get on. 2-2 pitch from Anderson. The count is full, and Odor hitting right in front of the aforementioned Nick Martinez. Payoff pitch. Popped him up. Ahmed calling off Tomas and makes the grab for the first out. As Nick Martinez comes to the plate, let's take a look at the Ford leaderboard. Pitchers hitting since 2010. The Rangers have the third, well, tied for the second best batting average in baseball. Cincinnati pitchers at 157. Ranger pitchers, Milwaukee pitchers at 150.
Well, you think back to who the Ranger pitchers were that got some of those hits. You know, Bobby Witt hit a home run. Darren Oliver was a good hitter. He had some hits. Kobe Lewis had a couple of games where he got hits. Looks good swinging the bat.
Yu Darvish had a hit last year. I think he's the one that had the last hit with the Ranger hitting pitchers. And Nick Martinez not a bad hitter himself.
Kenny Rogers had that triple down in Miami.
Yeah.
But in the 4th inning, he ran all the way to third base. It's about 100 degrees, and that was about it for him that day. Kenny could hit a little bit.
Yeah, Nick Martinez down swinging. That is 4 strikeouts now for Chase Anderson. 2 outs. Back to the top of the order for Leonis Martin. Nick, I was just saying, Nick had kind of a wry smile on his face going back to the dugout. He was gritting his teeth more than smiling.
Anderson in the minor leagues through 398 innings had 397 strikeouts. And as you would expect, not many walks. Fewer hits than innings pitched and a strikeout per inning.
Those are the kind of numbers that'll get a young man noticed and, as they say, project to pretty good success at the big league level.
Last year in the big leagues when he got called up, he never pitched at AAA. Got called up after 40 innings in AA. He had 105 strikeouts and 114 innings. And this year he's had a strikeout per inning. So his combination fastball changeup results in a lot of swings and misses for strikeouts.
2-1 to Martin. 2-2. Mentioned Leonis is swinging a hot bat. He's now 7 for his last 15 times to the plate, with 3 extra base hits in that streak. So, the couple of games he spent hitting in the 8 spot, 7 spot, 8 spot, have had the desired effect. They took a little bit of pressure off him, got him back to where he was swinging the bat well, and then Jeff Bannister got him back up to the beginning of things, to the top of the order. Fox tracker showing you pretty much everything away. Ouch. You know, even when you wear that shin guard, there's still a lot of spots that are not protected, like your foot. Leonis is going to have to walk that one off.
He's got the guard for that very same ball. But that one hit right at the lower part of the guard. Got half guard and half ankle.
Well, the half ankle part's hurting.
That's hurt for sure.
Half guard part's okay.
It's kind of like the catcher's equipment. It's going to keep you from getting really hurt, but it doesn't feel good anyway. A lot of guys go to that. A lot of guys have that same problem. Low inside pitches, following, especially left-hand hitters seem to have it more than right-hand hitters. Change up right off the end of the bat.
Yep. Anderson relying on the theory that Leonis was going to get the head of the bat out quickly so he didn't hit it off his foot again. He almost got the strikeout. Another 3-2 is in the offing. Popped up. Tomas and Goswitch right at the railing, and Tomas, the taller of the two, able to reach up and make the catch. So the Rangers retired in order, 6 straight now sent down by Chase Anderson. Halfway through the ball game tonight, Rangers won, Diamondbacks won. Fox Sports Southwest. Early season savings at Globe Life Park. Enter Dr. Pepper as the coupon code at TexasRangers.com/specials, or you can bring any Dr. Pepper can to the ballpark for savings of at least 25% for most Sunday through Thursday home games. It's a perfect way to watch your Rangers close out the month of April. 27th through the 29th, they play the Mariners. Offers good April through July. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop, leading off. Nick Martinez with the 0-1 pitch. And ahead of the count now, 0-2. Nick doing an excellent job. He is still short of 60 in the pitch total. Ahmed leading off the bottom of the 5th inning. Ahmed kind of like the looks of that high fastball, but couldn't do much with it. Still 0-2. Nick Martinez, the 24-year-old Floridian out of the Miami suburb of Hialeah. Fordham University. One and two now. We talked about Nick starting to turn things on last year. His last several starts going back to the 31st of August last year. And the first few starts this year, an ERA of less than 2. 4-2 record. The appeal down to first. First base umpire Tim Timmons, or excuse me, Mike Everett said, nope, no swing. So it's 2-2.
Good call. You can see that that was not an attempted swing.
Coming into tonight, Nick Martinez had the lowest ERA of any American League pitcher.
That was, though.
In that time span. He gets the strikeout of Ahmed. His second strikeout of the night, 1 gone. And the pitcher, Chase Anderson, coming up. And before Chase Anderson steps in, it's Mazda game break time here. And once again, here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you. Well, Chase Anderson, first ball swinging, hit it pretty well, but right at Rougned Odor, 2 away.
Ball solidly twice. Once a hang and break a ball, and that a fastball out over the plate.
Now, base is empty now, and Nick will face the leadoff man. That's A.J. Pollock. Normally, you would say, okay, well, the leadoff man's going to take a pitch or two to give the pitcher an opportunity to get back to the bench and sit down for a bit. Kind of a courtesy to the starting pitcher. I'm not so sure Pollock is in that kind of a mode. Anderson ran by him on the way back to the dugout. He might have just said, go ahead and hack at it if it's in there for the first pitch. And just in case, Nick Martinez throwing an off-speed pitch that missed. 1 ball, no strikes. Pollock tonight is lined to right, grounded to short.
Mentioned that Pollock was the 17th pick in the first round in 2009. He's out of Notre Dame, college player. And he's out.
If it comes down, I'll bet he is.
I'm betting it out.
Rougned Odor handles it. That is 7 straight now, set down by Nick Martinez and the Rangers. We're going to the 6th. Rangers 1, Diamondbacks 1. The Sonic Slam Inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $500 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. Tonight the Rangers are hitting for Jason Shuttlesworth from Carrollton. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Jason Shuttlesworth from Carrollton will win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Elvis Andrus leading off the Ranger 6th inning. 0-1 the count. Elvis reached on an error last time up. 0 for 2 tonight. Chase Anderson with his 81st pitch of the evening. 1-1. Elvis 158 with the average at the moment. There's that changeup that floats in. It's 1-2. Chase Anderson out of Wichita Falls Ryder High School. He was an all-state honoree as both a pitcher and a shortstop. Fouled back.
Well, that would explain a couple of good swings in tonight's game then.
Went on from high school to North Central Junior College, and from there went to Oklahoma. Became a Sooner, and was taken in the draft out of Oklahoma. Just off the outside corner. Elvis kind of leaning on it. That evens the count at 2-2. Into the wind goes Anderson, and Elvis pops this up. Goldschmidt chasing Hector Ortiz out of the coach's box. That is out number 1. And Prince Fielder will step to the plate. Elvis not really exhibiting a lot of excitement about that last pop-up. Why in the world did I do that? Here's Prince, who's 1 for 2. He has driven in the only Ranger run of the night. That was a first inning double that brought home Leonys Martin. So Prince 1 out of 2. 389 the average. The team leader now with those 7 RBI. Got on the fist and into the shift. Tomas, the third baseman over there at the second base spot, throws him out. That goes 5-3 if you happen to be scoring with us. And I mean, he may be the biggest second baseman around.
He's a big guy. Not as big as we mentioned before the Kung Fu Panda is.
No, Pablo Sandoval is.
Does not appear, at least in our 5-inning look, to have the agility that Pablo Sandoval has, though.
Adrian Beltre lining one foul deep down the right side and well back into the seats. Beltre 1 for 2. Scooted the ball right down the first baseline into right field for a single his last time up. He's the last Ranger to have reached base against Chase Anderson. And a souvenir to go along with the good Ranger gear out there. There we go. There you go, Mommy. Keep that for me. 0-2 to Adrian. Boy, they have their hands full.
And the dad gave the little girl the ball, and he took the cotton candy. It's like a pitcher throwing change-ups on a 2-0 count. Pitching backwards. He's viewing a game with his family backwards.
Everybody seems happy, though.
Yeah, they are.
That young lady is not going to let the usher look at that thing. No, this is my ball. 1-2 pitch to Beltre. That will even the count. Anderson back to the plate. Adrian way off balance on the slower version of the breaking ball, able to just get a piece of it.
The Rangers got their run early. Martin had a nice at bat, hard doubled on the right field line. Prince a 400-foot double on the gap. Since then, they have not done much. Chase Anderson has been in complete command of this game after the at bat by Fielder. He's doing the same thing Nick's doing.
Sure is.
Getting that riding the fastball in on the fists. His changeup has been excellent as well.
Now, when you can change speeds the way that both Chase Anderson and Nick Martinez are able to do, and then run the ball in off the plate,
that's a tough combination.
I would think it's real tough. That's out of play. And you don't see Adrian that late on a fastball very often.
That changeup will make you that way, though.
And you mentioned, Tom, the ability to know how to pitch.
Yeah.
I should say not the ability, but the knowledge of knowing how to pitch. Both these young guys do. And Beltry, a towering pop fly into shallow left. Ahmed calling for the fair catch. Now he's called off by the left fielder Peralta, who makes the grab. That'll do it. Rangers out in order again. 9 straight now have been sent down by Chase Anderson. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Tied at 1. Power stats tonight, and boy, Nick Martinez back at it after again. 5 innings of work, 3 hits, 1 run. It did snap his earned run streak. 65 pitches, 48 strikes with 10 ground ball outs through the first 5 innings. And boy, Nick as consistent as you could possibly want through 3 times out this year for the Rangers. Chris Owings starting things off. Count evens at a ball and a strike. Owings has grounded twice to the second baseman Rougned Odor. Average of 186. Nick has been able to jam Owings twice. Now 1-2. Martinez going to give Robinson Chirinos a little chance to get over the effects of that last foul ball.
And generally the umpire would go out there and tell him to hurry up, but the umpire knows that he just took one off the chin, and he knows exactly what that feels like. That's Tim Welke behind home plate.
Yep.
An umpire. Tim knows exactly what it feels like when you get one off the mask, and I'm sure he's saying, "Are you all right?" to Robinson when he gets back.
And that'll shake the cobwebs loose real fast. 1-2 pitch. Got him on the fists again, and Owings just chopping that about 4 feet foul as it went down the third baseline. First pitch strikes. 16 of 20. The 1-2. He's going to be 3 for 3 and grounding out to Odor. One gone.
Another ground ball. Another good at bat for Nick Martinez. Good assortment of pitches right there.
That is 8 straight now sent down by Martinez. Paul Goldschmidt, the last Diamondback hitter to reach. He walked in the 3rd inning. He is 1 for 1, having singled back in the 1st.
We were talking about Goldschmidt when he was up the last time, why he would be an 8th round pick and turn into this kind of a player. One of the best players in baseball, athletic, plays first base, but he can run pretty well. And when you look at his career, what he did in college, he didn't sneak up on anybody. He went to the Woodlands High School. They won a state championship, so plenty of scouts saw him there. He went to Texas State, Southland Conference Hitter of the Year for 2 years. Set records there, offensive records. So it wasn't like people didn't see him. He always hit. And then he bombed away in the minor leagues. In 1,000 at bats, he's in the big leagues. Minor leagues, he had 35 home runs, 30 home runs, knocked in 100 runs. So he's gone from high school to college to the minor leagues, always been a hitter, and he still is. I can't wait to
maybe getting better each year, too.
Yeah, to ask a group of scouts what happened then. It just might be a case of what you said, Buzz, that scouting is not an exact science. But whatever it wasn't like one team liked them in the 8th round and everybody else liked them earlier than that. No one picked them through 7 rounds. So whatever showed up in high school and college showed up to everybody, not just select group of teams. And I'm sure Arizona is thrilled that they got him in the 8th round. But if they had any idea he was going to be this kind of a player, they wouldn't have waited that long.
No, sure wouldn't.
So they have to be surprised themselves. And all that boils down to, that's credit to Paul Goldschmidt for what he's become.
2-2 the count to Goldschmidt here. Bases empty, 1 away. A 1-1 ball game. Just a little bit high.
It just slipped out of his hand.
Yep.
Change up.
Crowd getting a little restless over that. Maybe some folks here were in Kansas City for the last 4 days. The Oakland Kansas City series. So Kelvin Herrera got a 5-game suspension for drilling.
He earned it too.
Yeah, he did. He got his money's worth.
You don't like to slide into second? Fine. They drilled him with a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. Fine, it's over.
Yeah.
And then Scott Kazmir hit someone with a pitch down and in, hit him in the toe, and he would act like it was a brushback pitch or something. All you do is use some common sense to know he wasn't throwing anybody. Boy, there's another great at bat. Make him look like that.
That is 3 strikeouts now for Nick Martinez and 9 straight sent down.
That's just a case of a good assortment of off-speed pitches and not being ready for a good fastball. Starts out a little outside and comes right back to the outside corner. And Goldschmidt realized it and just wasn't prepared to hit that pitch.
I don't believe Goldschmidt had seen that 2-seamer outside or away from him.
Probably not.
You save a pitch in a spot like that to a real good hitter and don't use it until you get the right situation.
Yeah, that is probably a harder pitch to hit than the one he runs in on your fists. Now, the one he runs in on your fist, you might hit it. It's not going anywhere. But that one's hard to even make contact with.
Right. 1 ball, no strikes to Mark Trumbo. Trumbo is struck out and grounded into a fielder's choice. Average at 261 as Martinez comes back to him. And he went around the appeal down to first base umpire Mike Everett said, yeah, that was a swing.
One thing about this game, Buzz, I think the hitters on each team are just as frustrated as the other team trying to hit the other team's pitcher.
Yeah.
They're each going through the exact same exercise tonight.
Well, Trumbo finally got one up a little bit out away from him, and he pounds that into center with a 2-out single.
Yeah, that's one of the few opportunities that hitters have had to hit a pitch up and out over the plate. And to Trumbo's credit, he did. He hit it. He didn't foul it off.
Back in the 2nd inning. Yasmani Tomas got one right on the fist and shoveled it to right. And then the catcher, Tuffy Goswitch, even more so. And even more so yet. How about Nick Ahmed with the little chopper down to third? That's how you produce a run.
You won't see contact like that result in a run very often, but there it was.
Here's Peralta, who started and couldn't check his swing in time. That's Ryan Blackney down there.
I'd say the hitters are equally frustrated. Nick probably has a little bit more of an assortment that he's using tonight. The fastballs, changeup, breaking balls. Anderson's doing it pretty much fastball, changeup. That's about it. Occasional breaking ball, but
yeah,
shows you how good his changeup is.
Yep.
He doesn't need anything else tonight.
Martinez, 81 pitches with 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Peralta is grounded to short and fly to center field. One and two. Inning by inning, the breakdown of the pitch totals. 17 the most, and that has been in this inning. Well, other than that, as efficient as you could possibly want. Giving up 4 hits, just the 1 run. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Still 1 and 2. And this, as we mentioned, a good hitting team in Arizona compared to what they were. They're, right in the upper part of the National League in hitting. 253 as a team. They're 3rd in runs scored with 60. Well, this isn't a bunch of guys that are up there swinging today's newspaper. Odor knocks it down, recovers, too late to get anybody. Now that'll be an error on Rougned Odor, put runners at first and second with 2 outs for Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, Rougned had to go a little bit to his right, but nothing tricky about the ball. The ball stays down, and even though he has to go a little ways to catch it, that's a pretty routine play. If he catches it, it's a little easy flip to second base, in and over. Just gets it in his glove and wasn't able to keep it in his glove.
Now Mike Maddox, a quick visit to the mound just to make sure Nick Martinez and Robinson Chirinos are on the same page, and not going to let that error bother them. Yasmani Tomas, 1 for 2. He has scored the only Diamondbacks run tonight after singling. We showed you that little jam shot that he hit into right field. That was his first time up. Last time up, grounded to short. This is his 4th major league game since the Diamondbacks called him up. Pretty good breaking ball from Nick Martinez for strike 1.
Looks like this guy will chase a fastball out of the zone, but not a slider. Not that that was out of the zone, but last time up, there was one close that he didn't swing at. But he's got to swing at that fastball, boy.
If it's a fastball, he's hacking at it. I agree with you.
This is not a strike, which does not really matter. The first pitch, boy, that's about as tough a pitch as you can get and have it called a strike.
Nick way out in front of the count now. No balls, 2 strikes. Just did get a piece of it. Tomas again going after that sinking fastball, tailing inside to him.
Obviously a big, strong guy, and to get the kind of money he got, I'm sure he has some hitting ability. He looks like one of those guys that you don't want to make a mistake with your fastball down and out over the plate.
Saw the Diamondbacks 221 as a team with runners in scoring position. Trumbo out at second. Nice job by Robinson Chirinos to keep that ball from going to the backstop. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chirinos getting set to flash out the signs to Nick Martinez. Nick says, okay, we'll do that. Still 1-2.
I don't think he's taken a fastball yet on the inside part of the plate. And there's been some that have been 6 to 8 inches off the inside corner. All those pitches, 3, 2, and 5 aren't strikes, and he swung at all 3 of those pitches. He swung at 1 and 1 at bat. It would have hit him almost in the chin if he didn't swing at it.
Another 1-2 is coming.
Ooh, got a hanger right there, though.
Long throw by Elvis on a bounce, not in time. Now, almost an impossible play. Tomas doesn't run all that well, and Elvis had a chance. Just a little too far into left field to get the ball there in time. And Jeff Bannister up out of the Ranger dugout. He's waiting for the word from Joey Probinski up in the replay room here at the ballpark. And no challenge will be issued. The word sent down through Steve Buechele, the bench coach, that replay probably not going to go your way.
Well, Tomas got a pretty good pitch to hit that time. He didn't do much with it, but he hit it to a good spot in the infield, deep in the hole. And he beat it out.
Well, we've got a pinch runner now for Tomas at first base. I mean, Cliff Pennington. Pennington, the Texas native, coming on now to pinch run. No doubt will stay in the ball game and play defensively. So the base is full of Diamondbacks with 2 outs. Tuffy Goswitch, the catcher, 1 for 2 tonight. Nick Martinez will continue to work from the stretch with the bases full. 1-0. Goswitch hitting at .220 as he faces Nick Martinez for the 3rd time tonight. Breaking ball, and that dips in 1-1. This just the 2nd inning tonight that the Diamondbacks have had more than 1 runner in any inning. 2-1. Goswitch, you played in 41 games for Arizona last year, hit .225. Awaiting the 28th pitch of the inning from Nick Martinez. 2-2. And we've said it before, but it's worth mentioning again here. You get into an inning where you go above 22, 25 pitches. Roman Mendez getting set out there. You start to make, there's a probability of more mistakes by a pitcher as far as location is concerned. The more pitches you throw. Hope Nick can muster up the execution to get the final out here. Pop foul, and that will be back over the Ranger dugout.
Yeah, the error by Rubnet probably cost Nick the chance to go out and pitch the 7th inning. With a high pitch count this inning, it's got his pitch count up to, this pitch will be 96. He's thrown 95 and 99 pitches in his first 2 starts, so kind of doubtful that he'll go back out there for the 7th inning. The errors probably cost him 10, 12 pitches maybe.
Two and 2. Bases full of Diamondbacks. Chopper to third. Beltre snares it the short way for the 4th play. And Nick Martinez able to work around the 2 hits and an error. All 3 men left aboard for the Diamondbacks. Will go to the 7th inning in Arizona. 1-1 Rangers and D-backs. Game summary tonight. Prince Fielder plugging the gap in left center. The RBI double got the Rangers out in front in the first inning. Prince now with 7 RBI and a jam shot off the bat of Nick Ahmed. Pushed a run across against Nick Martinez, but Martinez settled back down, and he has really been lights out. Got Goldschmidt there on the sinking fastball. 3 strikeouts, 12 groundouts for Nick Martinez. He and Chase Anderson, a couple of relatively inexperienced major league pitchers. They're pitching like seasoned veterans.
Yeah, they're pitching like old-time veterans tonight.
Now, Shin-Soo Choo starting things off, and the first pitch is fouled away. Mike Mannix taking the opportunity to work with Nick Martinez and on the mental part of things. Talking about the movement on the fastball. New third baseman for the Diamondbacks, Cliff Pennington, as we told you when he came into pinch run, probably stay in the ball game, and he has taken over at third. Chew tonight, a ground out and a strikeout. Down to the count here, no balls, 2 strikes. Well, both starting pitchers, mid-90s through 6 innings. Very workable pitch counts. Chew rolls over on 1 to second, and Owings fires on to first, 1 gone. Now Robinson Chirinos.
Very difficult for the Ranger hitters to wait on that changeup.
Fans, on Saturday, May 16th, the first 15,000 fans, 14 and over, will receive a Texas Rangers camo cap, courtesy of Fanatics. Join us at Globe Life Park. Rangers take on the Cleveland Indians, and pick up your Rangers camo cap. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com. Mr. Camo Cap himself, Richard Price. Robinson Chirinos, a towering fly ball that's playable in center field. And Pollock there. 2 gone.
Left fielder Carlos Peguero.
Now Carlos Peguero. Peguero this evening grounded out sharply to short, and he is struck out again. The Diamondbacks going to that exaggerated overshift with Pennington, the third baseman, now playing in a normal second base spot. Second baseman Owings way out in right field. 2 balls, no strikes. There's a good look overhead at the D-backs going to their defensive alignment. Diamondbacks under the new skipper Chip Hale using a few more shifts than they had been prone to before. A lot of the analytical input that has come into baseball leading to a lot of the shifts, and some teams use it more than others. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Peguero.
Peguero got a good pitch to hit on the 2-0 pitch. He got a fastball out over the plate, and then he got a 2-1 changeup. Looked like the exact same pitch if he's way out in front of it.
Now the count runs full. With 2 outs, Peguero trying to get aboard. Rougned Odor, the Rangers' second baseman, will be next. Payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Changeup, foul tip into the glove of Goldschmidt. And the Rangers are gone in order. And we'll go to the bottom in the 7th here in Phoenix. 1-1, Rangers and Diamondbacks. TalkSpring.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Well, we head to the bottom of the 7th, and Keone Kela has come into the ballgame to take over for Nick Martinez. Martinez, 6 innings of work, 5 hits, a run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Gives way to Keone to have his 8th appearance of the year. He has had a lot of worked on Sunday. 1 batter, and that was Robinson Cano. He walked him in the 8th inning and was removed in favor of Neftali Feliz, and we all know what happened as that ball game finished up. Mariners came back, scored 3 in the 8th to get within 1, 2 in the 9th to walk off with it. And the Rangers left wanting as they headed south out of Seattle. Nick Ahmed, the shortstop for the Diamondbacks, 0 for 2 tonight. Hammers one deep and foul down the left side.
Started him off with a breaking ball, and then came back with another one and hung it. And Ahmed, definitely not known for his power. Almost yanked this one out of the ballpark. Got away with one right there.
Keone making sure he has that rabbit's foot in his back pocket still. It helped him out on that last pitch. No balls, 2 strikes. Now 1 and 2. Ahmed, just 25 years old. He was the 10th best prospect ranked by Baseball America. Lines one into the glove of Adrian Beltre. A step to his left, and that is out number 1. And before we tell you about the pinch hitter, let's take time for a Mazda game break. Here's Dana Larson. All right, Dana, thank you. Now the pinch hitter for Chase Anderson. He's finished after 7 innings. Danny Dorn, left-handed hitter, facing Keone Kela. And a swinging strike 1. Dorn this season at Reno, the AAA affiliate of the Diamondbacks, a .474 average. A home run, 8 driven in. One ball and 1 strike. Dorn has not had a big league at bat this year. This is his first one. Check swing on the breaking ball, and the count moves to 2-1. Matter of fact, for Danny Dorn, this is his major league debut as he's facing Keone Kela. That's low and outside. 3 balls and a strike. But Dorn trying to reach here as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. A.J. Pollock in the top of the order. Waits in the on-deck circle. 3-1 pitch. We'll go to 3-2. Dorn was signed by the Diamondbacks as a minor league free agent back a little over a year ago, before the 2014 season. A 10-year minor league veteran. Getting his opportunity now, and I guess all those bus trips and long hours paid off for him to get this shot. And he draws the walk. He is aboard in his first major league at bat. Keone Kela now will have to face A.J. Pollock. Robinson Chirinos out there to say something to the young right-hander. Remember, Kelly just turned 22 last week, and
he hasn't exactly been coming into what you would call the comfortable situations for a rookie pitcher.
No, he hasn't.
Seems like every time he comes in, the game's on the line. So he's getting his indoctrination in critical situations for sure.
Well, he certainly has been entrusted with a heavy load early in his career.
Yeah.
Here's Pollock, who is 0 for 3. A pop out, a line out, and a ground out. 1 ball, no strikes. Pollock last time up popped to second base. He's got Dorn at first, 1 out here in the 7th inning, a 1-1 ball game. One and one. If you're thinking about Danny Dorn running at first base, 10 minor league seasons, 26 stolen bases, so not exactly a minor league speed merchant, but you never know what Chip Hale, a new skipper, would try and get into the works. There's Chip Hale, lately the former bench coach in Oakland. 1-1 as Kelly sets. Our Skag pitch tracker showing you the first 2 pitches to Pollock. And that pitch, a called strike at the knees. Pollock didn't think so, and turns around to bark a little bit at Tim Welke.
If it's a strike and it was questionable, it's definitely a pitcher's pitch, not something a hitter would like to try to hit.
That's when you're going to need that shin guard.
Yeah, that ball had a lot of movement on it.
Fouled back, and it's still a ball and 2 strikes.
Probably looked more like a strike halfway out there than it did when it finally got there.
Pollock with the season average now at .333. Kella okays the sign. Another 1-2 pitch. That evens things up. A.J. Pollock, we talked about Adrian Beltre having good luck in interleague play. Pollock has an 8-game interleague hitting streak alive. That's been going for all of the 2014 season, back into September of 2013. Kelly is ready to work. Got him swinging. Breaking ball in the dirt and down on strikes. A.J. Pollock, that is out number 2. And Chris Owings coming up.
Couldn't quite lay off that off-speed pitch. Good job by Keone. Get the leadoff hitter.
That's that big overhand hammer.
Yeah.
No, 2 away. Sean Tollison in the Ranger bullpen. Righty getting loose. And you would think with the pitcher spot due up second in the 8th inning that Tollison would come on. Owings takes down and in for ball 1. Owings has 3 times grounded out to his counterpart, second baseman Rougned Odor, tonight. A 1-1 ball game. Both offenses have been kind of nullified, with the exception of the 6th inning for the Diamondbacks. Neither team has done much. That one's in the gap in right center. Doran around second will motor into third, and with 2 outs now, the Diamondbacks have runners at the corners for Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, see if the skipper will allow him to face Paul Goldschmidt with a veteran, more veteran. Sean Tollison out in the bullpen. Doesn't look like it.
Now we're going to see a double switch here, I believe, and with Tollison coming on to pitch, and Carlos Peguero, the likely one to be removed. He was made the last out of the 7th inning. So you'd have the pitcher go in and hit in the 7th spot. That would be Sean Tollison. And Jake Smolinski is going to take Carlos Peguero's spot in left field and bat 9th. So double switch underway here in Arizona. We'll tell you about all the changes when we come back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. For the Park Place dealerships Texas Ranger Triple Play Game Show Spectacular. This year will be a big top bash on Sunday, May 17th. It's at the Hilton Anatole, and proceeds benefit the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. To purchase tickets or for more information, visit texasrangers.com/triple play, or you can call 817-436-5933. Sean Tollison on for the 7th time this year. Gave up his only run of the season in Sunday's game up in Seattle. And working here in a 1st and 3rd 2-out situation to Paul Goldschmidt. A tie ball game. Goldschmidt tonight is 1 for 2. Jake Smolinski into the ball game, taking over for Carlos Peguero in left field. And Smolinski will hit in the 9th place in the batting order. Tollison will hit in the 7th position. Tollison's 0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tollison in that game Sunday gave up 2 hits and the run through just 17 pitches. He had a couple of strikeouts in that game also. Facing a tough customer in Paul Goldschmidt, National League's leader in RBI at 15. Couldn't catch up with that Tollison heat. It's 1-2.
The first pitch he threw him was a changeup, and then he's able to throw the fastball by him in the count on the outside corner. Good pitch, well located fastball.
Dorn at third, Owings at first. Tollison with the 1-2. That's out of play. Second deck on the right side on the check swing. This season, Goldschmidt, and one of the reasons he is leading the National League in RBI, 333 with runners in scoring position. 11 of his 15 RBI have come in these situations. And 3 of his 5 home runs have come with runners in scoring position. Two and two. Couple of Texans facing each other here. Tollison, of course, from Allen, Texas. Baylor X. We'll try another 2-2 pitch. Tollison, in the absence of Tanner Scheppers the first couple weeks of the season, was the 8th inning man. And once Scheppers came back off the disabled list, Jeff Bannister said, well, I'll probably flip-flop him every once in a while. Got him swinging.
Good fastball.
Fastball down. Goldschmidt strikes out. And the Diamondbacks leave 2 men aboard on a hit and a walk. We're going to the 8th inning. It's still 1-1 Rangers and D-backs. Tomorrow night, right here in Chase Field in Phoenix. A day off Thursday, and then it's 3 in Anaheim against the Los Angeles Angels. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon before coming back home to take on the Mariners and the A's at Globe Life Park. No, good job in the 7th inning, I should say, by Kella and Tollison to prevent any damage. We go to the top of the 8th inning and a new pitcher on the hill for the Diamondbacks. It'll be Daniel Hudson, right-hander, to take over. And he will face the number 8 man, Rougned Odor. Numbers on Hudson. This is his 5th game. He has yet to give up an earned run, 1 strikeout in 4 2/3 innings. Opponents, though, just hitting 176. Odor takes a knee-high strike. Rougned 0 for 2. Ground out and a pop out.
Hudson's only pitched a handful of innings the last couple of years. He's been hurt and really was a starting pitcher before that, and a pretty good one. Had a big year for them a few years ago. Trying to work his way back as a reliever right now.
He had back-to-back years of ligament replacement surgery.
That's not good.
No.
2011, he was 16 and 12, 222 innings. He was on his way to being a pretty good pitcher. till the injury hit him.
He gets Odor, and now we'll face Smolinski. Yeah, Hudson is only one of 4 pitchers to have had Tommy John surgery in back-to-back years and worked back to the big leagues. Doug Brocale, former Ranger, did it in 2000, 2001. Had the surgeries. Mike Lincoln, Denny Stark.
He just threw that one at 96 miles an hour, so
they put in a fastball.
Must be feeling pretty good.
Along with a new ligament, they threw a little extra velocity in there. That's shot foul, and the count to Smolinski now, a ball and a strike. Jake got his offensive game rolling on Sunday in Seattle. Had his first home run of the year on Sunday afternoon. Takes that high and tight. Went 2 for 4. Drove in a couple. That came on the heels of starting things off going 1 for 17. 2-2 now. Jake, 143 average for the season. Trying to get aboard here with 1 out in the 8th inning, a 1-1 ball game. Facing Daniel Hudson. Three and 2 now. Well, if Jake is able to reach, he would be on board for the top of the lineup. Leonis Martin is waiting to be next. Hudson with a payoff pitch. Ouch. Very similar to the ball that Jake pounded down on his foot last year at Yankee Stadium in early July. Busted his foot. Another 3-2. Hard hit. Pennington, the third baseman, knocks it down, recovers and can't get him. Smolinski smoking it down the line. Pennington charged with an error on that smash behind the bag at third.
Yeah, it was a hard hit ball, and where Pennington was playing, deep and on the line, he really doesn't have any margin for error as far as bobbling the ball, because he's got an exceptionally long throw. Once he did bobble it, once it got slightly by him, didn't have much chance to pick it up and throw out Jake at first base. So he's guard the line, doesn't want to double hit down the line, and he did protect against that, but couldn't handle it. And Jake ends up at first base on the play.
No, 1 on, 1 out. Here's Leonis Martin, who's 1 for 3. He's going to show he was going to bunt his way aboard, and butted that one. Duffy Goswitch took the worst part of that foul tip. Boy, for a catcher, that's tough. You start to come up, you see the bunt is going to be laid down. You come up out of the crouch to get a jump on the ball, and all of a sudden it's fouled off and gets you right on the foot. I understand with the StatCast is coming, but we understand the measured velocity off the bat of that smash that Smolinski hit was 101 miles an hour. And as we will see as that StatCast gets involved in all of our telecasts, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, no doubt. That's going to be fun watching some of the things that can do.
Yeah. Used it tonight on MLB Network for the first time on a national basis. Used it last year a little bit in the All-Star game and postseason. And it's going to become part of our regular broadcasts in the not too distant future.
Well, they showed a play that Ian Desmond made for Washington where he went in the hole and threw to first base, and they measured his velocity on the throw with something like 63 miles an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot until you watch him throw. And it's amazing that he could get that much on the throw going toward left field. And then they measured his first step quickness, which I think is from the time the ball makes contact with the bat and he takes his first step, maybe. Anyway, those are the kind of things that you'll be able to see, and that'll be a lot of fun. Things you always wondered about, and eventually, when you see enough of them, you'll be able to quantify exactly what it means.
Right. And you'll be able to compare them immediately to other players. 2-2. Ball 3. Well, Hudson now has gone to a full count after getting ahead 0-2 to Leonys Martin. Martin trying to reach base and join Jake Smolinski. Elvis Andrus will follow. One out, top of the 8th inning in a tie ball game. Smolinski the lead from first. Hudson will make sure that Jake doesn't have any ideas about getting a walking lead. Jake, of course, with pretty good speed over there. Modest lead. He's on the move, and the pitch inside, ball 4. And there are 2 aboard now with 1 out, and Elvis coming up. Goswitch immediately out to talk to Hudson along with Ahmed and Owings. The Rangers at first and second. Elvis tonight 0 for 3 is popped out, grounded out, and reached on an error. Against Daniel Hudson, Elvis has a little bit of a track record, 2 for 3. Hudson, of course, a starter here in Arizona starting in 2010. Won 16 games for him in 2011 before the injuries got him. Way outside.
A play by Goswitch.
That's pretty quick behind the plate.
That is unbelievable. I mean, I could see a guy reaching out and backhanding it. He shifts his weight and catches it with his palm of his glove facing up. That's pretty amazing. I don't know how that ball didn't kick off him and roll away.
Exactly.
That would have been second and third in an entirely different situation. He used both hands to do it. That's how it didn't kick away from him. Beautiful play. It's one of those plays that, depending on what happens for the rest of the inning, could be a game-saving play.
Yeah.
It goes by him, ends up second and third, sacrifice fly, and instead of a harmless fly ball with men on first and second, could be a huge difference.
A visit from Mike Harkey, the pitching coach, trying to settle things down. 1 ball and no strikes to Elvis. Smolinski the lead from second. 2 balls, no strikes. Elvis with 5 RBI this year, so it's been a reasonably good year for RBI, but Elvis has had problems with runners in scoring position. Chops one over third and down to left field. Smolinski around third. He will score, and Elvis drives in the go-ahead run for the Rangers. 2-1 Texas. How about that?
Well, you had to come back to Arizona to get a hit like that.
Exactly.
That's a spring training hit. Beat it into the ground and watch it bounce over the infield.
Elvis drives home his 6th run of the year. That's exactly what I was thinking, too. Here we are in Arizona again. You see a chopper like that. Right over the head of Pennington and into left field.
Well, an error, a walk, and a chopper that rivals the first run that Arizona got.
So 2-1 Texas. Here's fielder. There go the runners. The throw to third. It's by Pennington into left field. Up and coming down the line to score. Leonys Martin into third. Elvis Andrus. It is 3-1 Texas. It'll be a double steal and an error. I think it'll be a double steal and an error on Goswitch as he threw it by Pennington.
Well, that's making something happen on the base paths. This is a very effective inning for the Rangers without having to do a whole lot. A walk, an error, a chopper, a double steal. And another error.
Prince fielder, a drive to right. Way back, goodbye.
That's what we've been waiting for.
That wasn't an error. Prince fielder's first home run of the year, and it was a no-doubter. It is 5-1 Texas.
Well, Prince has launched one to left center field 400 feet for a ground rule double. And got out in front of this one and hit it into the seats in right field. Nice inning for the Rangers. A little bit of everything. Speed on the bases, patience at the plate, defensive miscues by Arizona, and a home run.
Adrian Beltre takes that outside for ball one. And this swing breaks the longest drought of Prince's career for starting off a season without a home run. 56 at bats.
Looked like a changeup that he threw him. That was a changeup.
He lifted it.
Hudson didn't even have to turn around. He just put his head down. And that's that sound you're talking about, Buzz.
Exactly. Chopper foul by Beltre. Guys down the truck are getting on me now. They're going to play that sound over and over again.
Well, at least it didn't come after you threw the ball.
That's right. And Prince did it. I'm happy for it. And he's going to tell folks now you can stop asking me when I'm going to hit my first one. 2-1 to Adrian. Now 3-1. Well, the Rangers busting loose here in the 8th inning for 4 on 2 hits, an error, and a walk, and a couple of stolen bases. Got 2 hits and 2 errors. Prince fielder with his 11th career home run against Arizona. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. Rangers now with 11 home runs this year. They came in 12th in the American League in that statistical category. Dead center field. Going back is Pollock. He is going to stop midway back on the track to make that catch. Beltre gave it a pretty good ride, but that's the deepest part of the ballpark. 2 gone.
Right fielder, Shin-Soo Choo.
That'll be up to Shin-Soo Choo. Choo 0 for 3 tonight. He's grounded out twice and struck out.
Now, I looked in the bullpen when Prince was hitting. It looked like they had Oliver Perez warmed up in the bullpen, a lefty.
Yes.
Made the choice not to use him.
Yeah, I found that rather curious. Choo, swing and a miss. It's 1-1. Shin-Soo with the average at 139 now as he faces Hudson. One ball and 2 strikes. Tanner Scheppers loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Jeff Bannister, a proponent of get back on the horse that throwed you immediately. To left field, a slicing fly ball that's going to be back and out of play. That in reference to Tanner Scheppers, who had a very tough afternoon on Sunday. Came in and got 1 out, walking 3, and propelled Seattle in that 8th inning to the 3 runs that they got. And Choo hits a fly ball to right. Trumbo in and over to his right. That will do it. But Rangers come up with 4 runs. There were 2 errors, 2 hits. The biggest hit by the biggest man in the order, Prince fielder. His first home run of the year, a 2-run blast. Bottom of the 8th coming up, 5-1 Texas. Home run of the year, a 4-spot on the board now, lead 5-1. And our AT&T U-verse look ahead for you. Giovanni Gallardo will face the Arizona Diamondbacks tomorrow night. Last 2 starts, Gallardo 2-0 with a 154, and facing Paul Goldschmidt, who, as we mentioned, the National League leader with 15 RBI and 5 home runs. 8:30 Central Time, right back here at Chase Field. Tollison facing Mark Trumbo. A little more cushion now. Trumbo 1 for 3 tonight.
Can't say enough for the job that Sean did coming in last inning to get Goldschmidt with a game on the line, men on first and third. And a great pitch to get him.
Trumbo back to the screen with the foul ball. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Tollison has really been nails this year. The run he gave up Sunday, that had been, not going to say it had been coming, but nobody gave him any problems.
Yeah, he gave up a run, but he was still throwing the ball very well in that game.
Sure was.
You'd have to credit the Mariner hitters. They're pretty good lineup, and they're going to hit some good pitches. But it wasn't because he didn't have good stuff. He's really been able to throw that 93, 94 mile an hour fastball on the outside corner to the right-hand hitters. Just painting that corner
right there,
just like that.
Trumbo down on strike. So
Goldschmidt couldn't handle it. Neither could Trumbo.
That's 2 pretty good back-to-back guys. 1 to end the 7th, 1 to start the 8th.
I'll say.
Which you just kind of blow away. Skag pitch tracker showing you that maybe up a little bit more than the 1 to Goldschmidt, but pretty effective.
Still effective, yep.
Now 1 out. Here is David Peralta, who has reached on an error. 0 for 3 tonight. And Tollison getting the outside corner. Now he'll go to work with that changeup fastball combination to the left-hander. Peralta for the year at 242 as he faces Tollison. That was a changeup. Odor to fielder, 2 gone. Our AT&T U-verse rewind. How about the guy getting the RBI single to put the Rangers on top? Elvis Andrus at Baltimore Chop in Phoenix, and it worked to perfection. Elvis able to get his 6th RBI of the year, get the Rangers on the right track in that 8th inning. Tollison now with 2 quick outs in the bottom of the 8th. Pennington the hitter. Takes that just a bit low for ball 1. Tollison back to the plate. There is a strike. Pennington, a switch hitter up there from the left side. Last year with the D-backs hit 254 in 68 ball games. And he looks at strike 2. He missed a little more than 2 months of the 2014 season. The 1-2 on the way. Got him swinging.
Boy,
that is a nasty combination. A couple of strikeouts in the inning. And Tollison sends the Diamondbacks down in order. We're going to the ninth in Phoenix. Rangers 5, Diamondbacks 1. Ranger fans of all ages enjoying the Ranger lead right now that stands at 5-1 as we head to the 9th inning. Robinson Chirinos will start things off, and a new pitcher on the hill for the Diamondbacks. It's Evan Marshall.
6th game for Marshall, Buzz. ERA's up there a little bit, 6.23.
Marshall, 24-year-old, and he just turned 25. Take that back. It's from Wichita, Kansas. Last year, Marshall in 57 games with the Diamondbacks ended up 4-4 with a 274. Well, here's Chirinos, who is 0 for 3 tonight. A couple of flyouts and a ground out. 1 ball, no strikes.
And Marshall, one of those college pitchers that was drafted to be a relief pitcher. Never had a start in the minor leagues. He's been groomed to be a late inning bullpen guy.
It's just off the outer edge. Pretty lively fastball, as you can see, at 90, 94, sometimes a couple of ticks faster than that. .6'2" right-hander goes to work, and the pitch is chopped foul. It's 2 balls and a strike. Looking down into the on-deck circle, following Robinson Chirinos in this inning, Mitch Moreland has grabbed a bat. John Tolleson, you remember, was hitting in the number 7 slot after the double switch. So Mitch Moreland coming out to pinch hit for the pitcher next. The 2-1 on the way. Marshall out of Kansas State, Manhattan, Kansas. Line drive snagged by Pennington. A step and a dive to his left, and he picked it off.
That's the first pitch he's thrown that hasn't been around 94 miles an hour. It's sinking. Threw him a changeup, 85 miles an hour, and Robinson ripped it.
So 1 out. Pennington hoping that hand stops throbbing here sometime shortly. It's a little bit sore from that blistered line drive. Mitch Moreland stepping in. Moreland hitting at .276 overall. Makes the pitch just a little bit low. Sean Tolleson, what a job. 4 hitters tonight. 3 strikeouts. 3 more strikeouts. He has been punching out better than a hitter per inning. Check swing by Mitch, and it is ball 2. Moreland 1 for 1 in a pinch hitting role this year. Had an RBI single in Seattle the other day. The 2-0. To the gap in left center field. That is right between the outfielders, and even though it's cut off by Pollock, Mitch is going to be sliding into second base with a double. Well, Moreland, another pinch hit base hit. He is 2 for 2 in that capacity.
Second baseman,
3rd double of the year for Mitch Moreland.
Marshall gets pretty good movement on his ball. The ball tailing down and away. Not a terrible location either. Right in the lower part of the strike zone. On the outside corner. But Mitch hit it pretty well in the left center field anyway. Pollock sprints over to cut it off. Wasn't much he could do to get anything on his throw, though.
Well, the hits now are even at 6 apiece. And Rougned Odor coming out of his shoes, swinging at that off-speed pitch. Odor 0 for 3 tonight. Rangers 5 runs on 6 hits. One error. Of the 6 hits, 4 of them have gone for extra bases. Rougned could not check his swing, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Neftali Feliz on your left, Tanner Scheppers on the right. One of them will come on to pitch in the bottom of the 9th. The Rangers score another run, make it a 5-run advantage or more. Probably be Tanner Scheppers. It won't be Sean Tollison, though. He's already out of the game after Morin pinch hit for him. 0-2 to Odor. Nice job by Goswitch to keep that ball near home plate. Rangers trying to snap a mini 2-game losing streak. Get back to 500 away from Globe Life Park. Came into tonight's play 3-4 on the road. 2-2 now. Evan Marshall, the 3rd pitcher used tonight by Chip Hale. Chase Anderson started, had a very strong 7-inning outing. Gave up just 3 hits and 1 run and 5 strikeouts. Chopper to first. Overhand throw. Marshall there. Nice play by the right-hander to get off the mound and beat Rougned Odor to the bag. On to third goes Moreland. He's there with 2 outs. And Jake Smolinski coming up.
Jake Smolinski.
Smolinski reached on an error in the 8th inning and came around to score the go-ahead run for the Rangers. It was driven home by Elvis Andrus' base hit.
Yep, that got the whole inning started. He hit it well. Pennington was hugging the line deep at third base. Knocked it down, but didn't have time to get it across the diamond.
Evan Marshall with the pitch. And a check swing, ball 1. Moreland away from third. Ball 2 sails inside. You know, the crowd out here at Chase Field, a little over 18,500, 18,345. Very pleasant evening here in the desert. Jake had one there to work with. That fouled back just to our right.
That one didn't sink, and he had a good swing at it. That's when you feel great. You saw it, you hit it, you swung well. You just didn't make solid contact, just fouled it straight back.
3-1 now to Smolinski. Two outs in the 9th. Rangers looking for a little insurance. They lead 5-1. Got Mitch Moreland at third, 3 balls, 1 strike. And Marshall with the pitch. Ball 4. No, first and third. Leonis Martin will get another opportunity. And it will not be against Evan Marshall. Chip Hale headed out to the mound, and he's got the hook with him. He's going to take Evan Marshall back to the dugout with him. So a pitching change underway with 2 out, top of the 9th inning. Rangers on top, 5-1, looking for more. And we'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Perez, the 33-year-old left-hander, now on to take over in the top of the 9th inning. Perez has been just about everywhere. He has settled here in Arizona, his second season with the Diamondbacks. 6 games coming into tonight, 1-0 with a 6.23. Opponents 3.16 average against him. Perez, 68 games last year, all in relief. He has been a reliever since the 2010 season. And a lot of arm problems. There goes Smolinski from first. They will not pay any attention to him. And I would imagine that would be defensive indifference. It is. So second and third now. That just removes the force play possibility at second base.
Yeah, Perez was warmed up when Prince Fielder was hitting. They chose not to bring him in for that at bat. Perez has given up a couple of home runs in 4 innings so far this year. But Prince promptly hit the first pitch he saw, a changeup from Daniel Hudson for a home run.
Kind of foiled that strategy, or lack
thereof.
thereof.
Very well.
Yep. 1-1 to Martin. 2-1. Nick Martinez, 6 innings of very solid work tonight. He will not have a decision. Rangers took the lead in the 8th inning. And Perez missing outside. It's 3-1. Nick with that line, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. That 1 earned run that the Diamondbacks scored in the second snapped his season opening streak at 15 1/3 innings of scoreless baseball. There's a base hit to right field. 1 run is home. Around third, coming in to score is Smolinski. A 2-run single for Leonis Martin makes it a 7-1 Ranger lead.
Well, Leonis is now doing exactly what Jeff Bannister was hoping he would do at the start of the season. He's getting the job done as the leadoff hitter. He had a good at bat in the 8th inning, walked, stole a base, and scored a run. And now against a left-handed pitcher, having to throw a strike, looking for a fastball. And then on second and third, he drills it into right field and picks up a couple of runs batted in. So he's scored twice, a double, a single, and he's knocked in 2.
The Rangers have 7 runs on 7 hits tonight, plus 3 errors committed by the Diamondbacks. Solidly struck base hit to right field. Trumbo, all he could do was come up throwing to the cutoff man.
Yeah, that's why he didn't bring in Perez to face Fielder.
Could be.
Hasn't been getting lefties out.
1-0 the count to Elvis Andrus. Elvis had a big RBI single last inning. Got the Ranger 4-run 8th going with that chopper over the head of Pennington at third. 2-0 the count. So Elvis now with 6 RBI for the season.
Perez, lefties were 2 for 9 against Perez, so that's pretty good. One of the hits had been a home run.
High and tight. 3-0. And we might get that Perez Fielder matchup anyway. Fielder hitting right after Elvis Andrus. Three and 1. Now the Rangers had a season high 6 hits with runners in scoring position Sunday, and they've had a couple here in the latter stages of this ball game that have really helped things out. Here's a little looper into right field, a base hit. Around second, motoring into third, Leonis Martin. The Rangers have runners at the corners for Prince Fielder as Elvis gets his second hit of the night.
He's got a high chopper, and that's one of those jam shots that I think that did stop rolling before it got to right field. Perez runs this ball in on Elvis's fist, but he fought it off. It really wasn't a pitch that you would expect to jam a hitter. It's right down the middle of the plate. Elvis must have jammed himself on that swing.
And Skag pitch tracker showing you that, yeah, Elvis did. He kind of dove into that to jam himself. Mike Harkey getting out to the mound to talk to Perez. And now we'll get the matchup that we thought we might have last inning. Prince Fielder, another multi-hit game in his back pocket tonight. He has a home run, a 2-run blast last inning, an RBI double in the first inning. He has 9 multi-hit games already this year, and for the Rangers, this is only their 14th game.
Well, this has been a real good game for Prince because he's been getting his hits, and today he's really driving the ball 400 feet to left center field, and then a no-doubt home run to right field. Great game for Prince.
Pitch outside to him. 2 balls, no strikes. We'll take you back last inning. Daniel Hudson, first pitch changeup. And that ball didn't come down till it was about 390 feet from home plate. 2-0 the count. That is popped up way up in the air near second base. And making the catch out there, Ahmed. That will do it. Rangers get a couple of runs. Leonis Martin with a 2-run single. They strand 2 runners. They'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Now 7-1 Rangers. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. The EcoBoost Challenge is on at your Texas Ford dealer. Get to your best in Texas Ford dealer today. Tanner Scheppers has come on here to work the bottom of the ninth. He will work to the bottom third of the Arizona order. Tanner Scheppers, his 4th year of his major league career, 125 games, 7-5, or 7-4, I should say, his lifetime record. Failed conversion to the starting rotation last year. Came down with all kinds of arm miseries after being the opening day pitcher. That was shelved. Beltre across the diamond. Mitch Moreland in the ball game now as the first baseman. He takes over for Prince Fielder, and that means Scheppers is batting in the number 3 spot in the Rangers order. The 1-on, and Nick Ahmed will come up. Ahmed tonight 0 for 3, although he does have an RBI. That came back in the 2nd inning. Drove home the only Diamondbacks run to this point. And Scheppers firing a strike in there at 95. A little better command for Tanner Scheppers tonight than we saw on Sunday. Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure he feels good number one to get back in there as quickly as possible.
Beltre, after a great pickup and a 360, threw a sinker, and Moreland couldn't quite come up with it.
Yeah, ball was in the dirt, but that's usually one Mitch would come up with.
That's unusual. The official score is going to give Moreland the error.
Yeah, generally, if it's in the dirt, the guy that threw it gets the error. That is unusual.
That may be one that gets changed, but in any event, a man aboard with a 1 out and another pinch hitter. It'll be Ender Inciarte. That was just changed to an error on Adrian Beltre on the throw instead of the attempted scoop by Moreland. Inciarte, the pinch hitter, a .327 average. Pop foul that reaches the seats over the Diamondbacks dugout. Ender Inciarte, 6 RBI, a 364 on base percentage this year. Shepard's next pitch, and again a foul ball off to the left. Tanner Shepard, in the third of an inning on Sunday, had 3 walks. All 3 of them eventually came around to score in that 8th inning in Seattle. Trying to get that bad taste washed out of his mouth. This is inside here to Inciarte. And only one way to do that. You have a rough stretch. You got to go back out there and change it around. That's exactly what Tanner's working on right now. Chopper to Odor. Go to second for 1. That's all they're going to get. Elvis really jumping out of the way of Ahmed, who came in there pretty hard. So the fielder's choice takes care of Ahmed. 2 outs now with Inciarte at first and A.J. Pollock coming up.
Yeah, Elvis doesn't have a lot of time to get out of the way. He's got to catch the ball and keep his foot on the bag, and you know that's not going to be a double play. That's a high chopper, and nothing illegal about that slide, but when you slide 10 feet by the bag on a play that is not going to be turned anyway, might be a little overly aggressive. I know some people would disagree with that, saying that's the way you're supposed to play the game, but you know, if Elvis is a split second later getting that ball, he's not going to be able to jump. He's got to keep his foot on the bag, and then you got a real chance of getting injured on that play when there's really no need to break up a double play.
And Pollock shoots one up the middle for a 2-out single. Inciarte to second. Runners at first and second for Chris Owings. Well, if that had happened in Kansas City on any of the last 4 days, somebody would have gotten drilled.
There'd be 50 guys out on the field if that happened.
Yeah.
Again, there's nothing illegal about it, but you know, just common sense says if there's no chance to turn a double play, you don't have to take the shortstop out. And when you slide that far by the bag, that to me is a little over aggressive.
I'm right there with you. I agree,
you agree?
100%. Yeah.
I think there's people that would say no, that's the way you play the game, but I think you're just trying to hurt someone when you slide like that.
Well, you know, the way the game has changed, and the game has changed. No, I shouldn't say the game has changed. How it's played has changed over the last 20, 30 years. You know, that's part of it today. You're not trying to kill people in the process of winning ball games. Fouled back by Owings. You go back to the 70s or before, that was standard, pretty much. That it was going through a wall every time you had an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, having played back in the 70s, I guess I wouldn't have agreed with it back then either.
No.
You know, if anything on that play, it's a close play at second, right?
Right.
It's a fairly close play.
Yep.
The best chance you've got is to get to second as quick as you can and hope you beat the play. So let's say he beat that play. He's going to be out because he's 10 feet by the bag anyway. So there's really no, if trying to win the game, really, that defeats the purpose of trying to make a slide like that.
A ball and 2 strikes to Chris Owings, who is 1 for 4 tonight. Shepard's trying to put a capper on this one. Pitch fouled back. Tanner Shepard's going to need 17 pitches to extricate himself and the Rangers from this ball game. Still looks like he is feeling much better than he was on Sunday as far as commanding the strike zone. Another 1-2 pitch is coming. Got him swinging.
Oh boy, Tanner.
Shepard comes on, gives up 1 hit, strands 2, and the Rangers turn that into a winner tonight. 7-1 is the final. Sean Tollison gets the win in relief. Daniel Hudson takes the loss in relief. 3 hours and 4 minutes in front of 18,345. The Rangers get back on the winning side of things, having snapped a 2-game losing streak. They lost the last 2 games in Seattle. They come down where it's a little bit warmer. And Jeff Banderson's ball club bangs out 8 hits, 7 runs tonight. That follows up a 10-run outburst on Sunday. Able to turn it into a W here tonight as the pitching staff led by Nick Martinez, holding the Diamondbacks down to a run on 7 hits. Martinez, Kella, Tollison, and Shepard able to shut the door on the Diamondbacks tonight. The Rangers get the W, and that is an important one. Rangers get back to 6-8 now. They're 2 games under 500, but going in the right direction. Have to feel good, not only for the ball club, but for Prince Fielder tonight, Tom. Prince is able to drive the ball out of the ballpark. That had been a while coming.
Yeah, and I don't care how long you've played or how many home runs you've hit. Prince has had a spectacular career with a ton of home runs. To get your first one, he still feels great tonight.
Yep.
He's glad that's out of the way. That was a lot of at-bats for him not to hit a home run. The good part is he's hit